I am Dominique Reese, class of 2006 of Princeton University. I graduated with an economics degree and a certificate in African American Studies. I recently learned about the Princeton Perspective Project and was totally compelled to participate. I felt as though this was a phenomenon that was very relevant during my tenure at Princeton and wanted to be a resource to the current Princeton community in any way that I can. And so when I reached out, I was told to share my experience about some of those tough moments on campus and what it was like for me. And I can vividly recall having been stressed out on campus because there were just so many things happening, so much shock. I'm originally from Los Angeles, and here I was in Princeton, New Jersey, which was not the city at all, not the city lifestyle that I was used to. But nevertheless, I experienced high academic shock. I graduated from a high school that didn't necessarily prepare me for Ivy League, and I found it very difficult to learn how to learn at Princeton. Those experiences came through things like not understanding my problem sets in my economic courses to completely failing tests. That was different. I graduated with a 4.3 GPA. I was salutatorian of my class. I was class president, homecoming queen. There were so many highs and accomplishments during my high school tenure that transitioning to Princeton and now failing just didn't seem right. It did not come easy, and it was something that played very heavily on my mind. I just couldn't figure out why it was so difficult. I felt like I understood the content and I understood what I was learning, but when it came to taking tests, I bombed. I completely failed. It was something that I didn't know how to explain. I couldn't articulate why I was doing so poorly. However, I do know that I did not come to Princeton with a strong math background, and economics tends to be quite quantitative. And so I struggled, and I struggled so much that it got the attention of my dean, the dean of my residential college at that time. And she called me in, and we had a very candid discussion about what our solutions were. And it was my understanding that I wanted to major in something that I was interested in. That was what college was supposed to be about. And so although she suggested that I switch majors to sociology because I was doing well in those classes, I disagreed. I had to stand my ground. And that was a really tough thing to do because admittedly I was not doing well, and because I had come from an educational environment where I flourished, I was very successful without having to ask for help. Here I was now in a situation where I had no idea how to ask for help. It did not come naturally to me to ask for help. I never had to ask for help before. And there was a bit of embarrassment and shame. Like, if I ask for help, that means I'm weak. That means I'm not smart. That means I don't know what I'm doing. Maybe I don't belong here. And it just was very difficult. I am a first generation college student. So again, I didn't want to disappoint my family. I didn't want to disappoint the people who wanted me at Princeton, but I was struggling and I did not know how to ask for help. So when my dean called me in, I was a little relieved because I could finally confess, about this struggle. And again, she suggested I switch majors, but I held my ground. I stuck to my guns and I said, no, I'm going to tough this out. I wanted to be an economics major. It came as a challenge to me. And I did not think that being a sociology major would challenge me enough. I knew how to study people and behaviors of people. I felt like, that's one thing I did. I did come to Princeton knowing how to do very well. So it wasn't necessarily a challenge for me. And I'd say, having gone against the grain, having gone against my dean's recommendation was very tough. But I did it and I toughed it out and I stayed an economics major. I passed my tests. I graduated. I did my thesis, and all ended well. I made it. I survived. And today I am a great example of what that struggle has produced. I'm now an entrepreneur running my own business. I actually am a personal financial coach, so I do focus on numbers, but it's really about relationships in my business. But I'm very proud of my struggle because it's made me who I am today. And so I encourage everyone else who is experiencing the same struggle where you're not quite sure why you're not succeeding. You're not exactly sure why it's so difficult. It is a transition. It is something that creates an unfamiliarity when you study at an institution like Princeton. It is like no other. And it does create pressures and anxieties and stress that you may have never dealt with before. I encourage you to reach out for help from someone you trust, someone you can confide in, and do your best to figure out the solutions that work for you, because everything is not for everyone. So I hope this is helpful. I hope I'm able to encourage someone to not only tough it out, but seek the help they need, seek the solutions they need, and really continue to press forward in your journey. Thank you. Again, I'm Dominique Reese, class of 2006, signing off.